Hi, I'm Retro Mike, and even as a huge Doom fan, I can tell you, this comics blows. But anyway, I'm not going to review comics, that's not my thing. I'm going to review today the SNES port of Doom. Back in 1996, when I was only 6 years old, all I had was a Super Nintendo. At that time, PC were too expensive, mostly weren't good enough to play some classic FPS games like Quake or Duke Nukem 3D. So this is on Super Nintendo that I discovered Doom, one of the first FPS games made by ID Software in 1993. Of course, they also made other FPS games before, like Catacomb 3D in 1991, and then Wolfenstein 3D. But the FPS genre became popular with Doom, and why we say Doom-like. So before talking about this port, let's talk a little bit about Doom itself. The story is simple: you're Marines, the only survivor of a merchant base, attacked by monsters from hell. You have to fight the monster and find an exit of the huge and scary 27 levels. Of course, you have a big arsenal of weapons to defend yourself. The chainsaw, the pistol, the shotgun, the Gatling, the rocket launcher, the plasma gun, and my favorite, the big gun. Voila! That's Doom for you! Simple and fun, unlike any modern FPS game would try to be more like boring movies than an actual game. Back to the SNES port. In 1995, a great developer named Randy Lyndon made a Super Nintendo version of Doom on his own. As he said himself, he knew that a special chip called the Super FX2 would make Doom on the SNES possible. When he showed his prototype to ID Software, they were so impressed that they let him continue his work with a team. At the time, I was really happy with this version, and so was the magazine. But nowadays, a lot of these pretended reviewers are saying that this is the worst port of Doom. Well, I still think that this is a great port, and I will show you why. First of all, I want to inform you that I've played to all the console ports of Doom. The 32X, the Jaguar, 3DO, GBA, Saturn, PS1, and the Super Nintendo version is the only one who tried to be as close to the original on PC, since most of the other ports were based off the Jaguar version, which lack of the Cyber Demon, the Spider Mastermind, the Crusher, and has some different level design. On this one, everything is like on PC. Well, almost. The Spectre and 5 levels are missing, but everything else is there, and it still feels great to explode some monster to pieces, especially on a SNES, a console where violence was not tolerated. The gameplay is not the same as on a PC, of course, but it's still pretty playable. The SNES controller is perfect for this kind of game, since you have the L and R button on the top, which allow you to strafe and dodge the enemy projectile easily, compared to other controllers where you have to hold the button and use the D-pad. But you cannot strafe and turn at the same time, so it makes really difficult to dodge and aim while you counterattack. Another complaint: you have only one button to change your weapons. That means you can cycle through them only one way, but at least you can change your weapon while you are in pause. Now that's a good thing. The controllers are good, every button of the controller are used wisely, and they are pretty easy to remember, but I admit, it can feel a little bit sluggish sometimes, because of the frame rate. There is some lag when there are a lot of monsters or other stuff on screen, but it doesn't happen that often, and even then it's still playable, unlike the 3DO version. And speaking of the frame rate, we are going to talk about the graphics and the animation. Oh boy. So, does the graphics are good? Well, short answer, you bet they are good. I mean, come on, 3D graphics with texture on a 16-bit console? This is madness, man! And unlike the other port, the lighting effects are present here. And long answer, well, they aren't that appealing to the eye. There are no ceiling or floor texture, and because of the small resolution of the SNES, it is really pixelated, so it can be difficult to distinguish between a monster to an item. Although some animations are missing, since you can see the enemy from just one side, and not in an angle like in the original. That also means that you cannot take them by surprise, but that doesn't change the gameplay that much. I would even say that it gives a better frightening atmosphere to know that all the monsters cannot be attacked to the back. So the graphics for NES standard are incredible, and you can still recognize all the items or monsters from the original version. Of course, if you try to compare it to a PC, it would be like comparing the Jesus painting restoration to the original. Well, maybe not that bad, but we are on a SNES here. That's not the same thing. And even then, graphics aren't everything, but I will grant you that. The lagging are annoying. Too bad the Super FX 2 wasn't even more powerful. Lucky me, I'm one of the 3 people on the earth to also have an overclocked version. And trust me, there is a big difference. The control feels less sluggish, and there is no lag anymore when there are a lot of monsters on screen. So about the music and sound, well, I would say that the music of the first level is a bit messed up. But all the other ones are 10 times better than the original on PC. On Super Nintendo, it sounds more like real musical instruments. This is perfect. However, I can't say the same thing for the sound in general. But some of them could have been better, this one in particular. The one thing I do like about the sound here is that every monster are roaring non-stop when they have spotted you, which makes you even more stressed as this horrendous creature is coming right for you while roaring menacingly. Again, it gives you a better atmosphere. As for the game length, well, like I said, on this version you have 22 levels, separated in 3 episodes. So this is quite a long game, and for some dumb reason they didn't put any save system. So every damn time you want to play to the game, you have to start from the beginning of the selected episode. And even worse, you are not able to select all the 3 episodes if you don't select at least the ultra violence skill. I guess they did that in order to enhance the game length, but really, it's just making the game unfair. Nowadays I don't really care since I'm only playing in Nightmare skill, but back then I was pretty annoyed by this limitation. Oddly enough, the Japanese version resolved this issue. Good job, Japan. There was a multiplayer option, well, only if you were lucky enough to live in America and to have the quote-unquote famous X-band modem. You were able to play some deathmatch mode with only one person, no sound effect or item respawn, and the sprite of your enemy in shooting position every time. Of course, you cannot play to this multiplayer mode anymore, since this modem was discontinued after only 1 year of service. A shame for a lot of fans, apparently, even though I don't see the point to play Mario Kart Online with a split screen, but what do I know? Well, I don't have anything more to say about this port. I mean, at the time, it was pretty impressive to play Doom on Super Nintendo, and even nowadays, if you are a Super Nintendo fan, I mean, it's well playable, the music are great, you still have this terrifying atmosphere, everything was well respected from the original, and it's Doom! One of the best FPS games! I mean, you can see that Randy Lyndon was really dedicated to this port. And he apparently really loved his wife, since he left an Easter egg that I found 7 years ago, saying Randy Lyndon heart Jodie Harvey. How do I know that Jodie Harvey is her wife? Well, in another Easter egg that I found, if you open the ROM file with the notepad, you can see the following text. Interesting, isn't it? Of course, even though this is a great port, if you still cannot accept the pixelated graphic of the Super Nintendo, well, I would recommend you the PlayStation version. Oh yeah. This is one of my favorite ports with the SNES one. The graphics are decent, the controls are perfect, and most of all, you get a new challenge with monsters from Doom 2 in Doom 1, some new level, and a darker atmosphere. Long life to old school FPS.